everybody, and welcome back to the Side by Side podcast. I'm Michael, and I want to thank you for tuning in. We are currently deeply in the season of Lent, and the thing that's so special is that even in the dark moments in life, even in these moments where we contemplate our mortality, when we contemplate our purpose on earth, and when we dive directly into our brokenness, the trauma that we've been lugging around, even in those moments, even in this wilderness season, there's still light that shines. There's still a candle that flickers and that reminds us of the way that God always shows up. And our faith lingers when we're willing to ask the hard questions, when we're willing to do the deep work of spirits that truly seek God. And the moment that we stop seeking is the moment that we stop finding. So I pray that your spirit is a courageous spirit, that your spirit is open to the way that God is moving in your life, and that you're willing to dive into the dark and to continue this seeking journey that God started when he lit the flame of your spirit. And our series this Lenten season is Joyful as the Dark. And it is a great joy to be able to have this series, to be able to contemplate the reality of our lives, that we exist in this world where there is darkness, but there's also joy. And it feels conflicting, but in a lot of ways, we can't have one without the other. Our joy reminds us that God is present even when adversity is climbing and amassing in our lives from all directions. That God is with us even when we don't feel him, even when we don't see him. That God is at work in our lives. And not always to provide immediate relief or immediate solutions, but sometimes just to be. And in order to be people of the resurrection, we have to first be people of the wilderness and then become people of the crucifixion. And that means we have to travel through the wilderness and we have to acknowledge the totality of the dark. And in that, find that joy never left us. So today, to do the third week of this Lenten journey, I really just want to look at one verse. And it kind of sums up this entire week of the journey. And it's from the Psalms. It's a familiar verse from Psalm 34. And it's verse 8 here specifically. And it says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him." And it's a beautiful verse. We could kind of just stop right there. But to stop right there would not acknowledge the fact that it's also a challenging verse. And the challenge comes in the fact that the psalmist, who's David here, he doesn't explicitly say to think and see that the Lord is good, nor does he say to believe and see that the Lord is good. He says to taste. And there's not a lot of times in Scripture that we kind of think about our encounters with God as tasting things. I mean, we think about thirst sometimes, and we think about God sustaining and fulfilling our feeding and our nourishment, right? We think about God in terms of hunger and thirst, but we don't think about God in terms of tasting. But in order to taste, it requires something of us. It requires trust. And before we kind of jump into the tasting bit of this, we have to understand the circumstances, okay? So David is writing this, and we know David's story. It's a beautiful story. But when we ask where these words come from, we understand that they come from a real place in David's life, and it's not the place of great success. It's not the moment that he becomes king. It's not in this time where he defeats Goliath. It's not at these pinnacle moments. It is at a very weak moment. And in a lot of ways, David finds himself in a desperate place. So we know the story of David and Goliath, right? And we know the success of that.